What is going on, YouTube? How's everyone doing? I look like a wreck because I got a puppy a few weeks ago and she's been wrecking the house, wrecking everything. So it's been quite a ride having a puppy. Um, so yeah, I put her. She's chilling in her cage for a little bit. So you and I can talk and then have our Q&A, our weekly Q&A. So I'm sorry if look like I'm a little bit tired, but she's been, if you go on my Instagram feed, you'll see how crazy she's been. She's been like attacking my face with like kisses and stuff. It's hilarious. All right, anyway, Israel, what's up, man? C7 Media Film, what up, bro? Oh man, Soldier Edits. Of course that question is gonna come up, right? And that is thoughts on the DJI Ronin S versus the Crane 2 for the Sony a7R III. Oh man. I like Tech. I like what they're doing. I also like DJI, but I'm more of a fan of using Tech gimbals. Juin for life, baby. But yes, I do sound a little biased. But when we compare factual evidence, you're gonna have a better experience with the Crane 2 because it's lighter, and we have a lot more accessories and better battery life available to the Crane 2 than we do have for the Ronin S currently. So that's right now. Tech is still working on other good stuff that's coming soon. So the Crane 2 shouldn't be competing with the Ronin S right now, okay? Because something big is coming, all right? I don't have any details on what, but if you guys want to listen to me when it comes down to gimbals, I would wait. Just wait. But when we're talking about facts, if you need to buy a gimbal now, I would strongly suggest going with the Crane 2. We have many more accessories available again. We also have one of the biggest features that I really started appreciating on the Crane 2 is that you can attach a monitor and power the monitor directly from the gimbal's batteries. That I absolutely love. And I love how with the Crane 2, you can buy your own batteries. You don't have to buy a proprietary brand. For DJI, you can only buy from DJI. But with Tech's gimbals in the Crane 2, they're using the 18650 batteries. They recommend using their own batteries, but if you want to, if they're too expensive, you can go on Amazon and buy a cheaper batteries, 18650s. So you don't always have to rely on Tech for the batteries. And you are guaranteed to get a longer battery life than the DJI Ronin S, which is a very big deal. Build quality, both are exceptional when it comes down to build quality. But as I stated earlier, the DJI Ronin S is heavier. I used the 5D Mark IV on the DJI Ronin S at CES and at NAB. Heavy as hell. On the Crane 2, significantly lighter. Even though it doesn't look it, it definitely feels like it. And you'll feel that over a couple minutes of use. So that's a big thing. I mean, I'm a big guy. I go to the gym, but that doesn't matter. Weight is still everything. If something is a pound heavier, you're definitely going to feel it. Even half a pound heavier, you're definitely going to feel it, especially over a longer period of time. And that's just one thing. Weight is just one thing. We have many more accessories available to us for the Crane 2. And I'm just sticking with the Crane 2. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going crazy over the 45-degree angled motor. That way you see the full coverage of the LCD screen. For me, I think that's way too overhyped. Way too overhyped. And also don't forget that when the motor is angled that way and you want to do roll follow, you're not going to get a consistent horizon with that roll follow. DJI is offering another way to achieve roll follow, and that is by turning the gimbal into flashlight mode and rotating it this way. But that's a lot more difficult on your hands to create a consistent rotation. I would rather have the gimbal pointing directly up like this and then having the roll follow. Instead, with DJI, as I said earlier, you're going to have to turn it like this, And the only way you're going to do that successfully is if you hold the gimbal like this and rotate it with your hands like that. And that is not very ergonomic. It's not that ergonomically friendly. It's going to take a toll on your forearms. You're going to end up being very tired at the end of your shoot, or during your shoot, rather. So I much rather have the gimbal upright and then me having that consistent horizon with my roll follow. And that's something the Ronin S does not currently have. So I hope that makes sense. SYZ says, how's the wheel and the gimbal combo working? Dude, good. Very good. I will have a tutorial ready for you guys in about a week. It's going to be a very good tutorial, and it's nothing that's available on YouTube yet. I have checked. So this is going to be pretty sick. Soldier Edits is asking, is either a good buy in your opinion? If you can wait, I would wait. If you need a gimbal now, get the Crane 2, but my ultimate suggestion is to wait. Wait, because you'll be surprised at what's coming. But if you want, what you can do, you can buy the Crane 2 now. It's actually very affordable, and it comes with the follow focus system. Buy it now if you need a gimbal, and then sell it for, so you can buy it right now for $750. In about 2 or 3 months, I would sell it for $600 at the least. You'll sell it like that because June crane gimbals keep their value and they sell very easily. Sell it for $600 in 2 or 3 months. By then, I can't say anything more, but by then, something you will see something coming. I'm sure of it. June Tech didn't tell me anything about any new products or anything like that. I'm being honest with you guys. But with the way competition works, I would just wait. Okay, just wait, because I'm sure something big is going to be coming. This is just all a marketing strategy, so I would just wait. But yeah, if you need a gimbal again, like I'm gonna say what I just said. Buy the Crane 2 now, sell it a little bit later. It's still going to retain a lot of value with minimal depreciation. June crane gimbals are like Jeeps; they keep their they retain value very well. So yeah, keep that in mind. Hello from Toronto. What's up? Awesome. Israel sent me some pictures through email. I had a look at them. They were awesome. Israel made a DIY setup for his crane, which looked great. Mr. PH is asking, should I rebalance my camera if I change the focus? Because when I focus, my lens extends. It's such a minimal movement of glass. I wouldn't rebalance every single time. All lenses, when you focus, there's a change in the elements of the glass. It either moves forward or backward, but these are very tiny movements. I would not worry about balance. Even for zooms, if you are going to be constantly changing zooms, I would not constantly rebalance the gimbal. Just make sure that when you're making your initial balance for zoom lenses, you get a mid-range balance. For example, if you have a 24-70, I would balance the lens at around 50mm zoom or 50mm focal length, and that will get you a very even balance between 24 and 70 when you zoom in and zoom out. That way you get better battery life and overall better performance. So I hope that answered your question. Soldier Edits, how soon are we talking here? How long of a wait? Man, I would say maximum 2 months. Yeah, I feel something. I feel something with marketing and how gimbals are evolving. I would say about 2 months maximum. So if you do need a gimbal now, buy the Crane 2 and then sell it a couple months down the road, because it will retain value. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. So yeah, that's something I would definitely consider. Yeah, dude. I think that's the way to go. And the Crane 2, you don't necessarily even have to sell it down the road. As long as you want just like typical, just stable footage, keep the Crane 2. Just leave it at home when you're not using it. You don't have to necessarily sell it down the road, but it's always good to have a gimbal. And the Crane 2 has never failed me. I've never had issues with my Crane 2. Honest to God, like, I'm not just doing this because I'm with Tech or anything like that, but I've never had any issues with my Crane 2. When I've owned I had the King TV Argo a while back, and that was like a replica of the Ronin M. It was a good gimbal, but it broke down a lot. The horizon was never consistent. When it worked well, but I just had to constantly hook it up to my computer and reprogram the parameters, and it was just an absolute nightmare. So Tech, I'd never had to recalibrate or anything like that. It always stayed consistent with its settings. So I did mess around with the DJI Ronin, the actual DJI Ronin. It's also a good gimbal, but battery life and weight, it's not there. It's too heavy, way too heavy. The Ronin S, too heavy, man, too heavy. Proprietary battery, not the ideal situation for those of you who are budget filmmakers. I don't know how much they're going to be selling the battery for the Ronin S. I have no idea. I didn't even look, but it ain't going to be cheap. I'll tell you that right now. It's a lot cheaper to buy third-party batteries, like with the Crane 2. You can buy the 18650s on Amazon, very cheap. So I would stick to something that's going to burn less of a hole in your pocket. C7 Media Films, especially when you're filming a wedding, you need something lighter. Yeah, definitely, guys. A wedding can range from a 4 to 8 hour day, ceremony and reception. I mean, yeah, that's going to be an 8-hour day. A lot of those 8 hours, you're going to be using a gimbal for tracking shots, for establishing shots, for reveal shots. You are going to get tired. So you got to make sure that you're using the lightest setup possible. And that's another thing. Don't think that just because your setup is heavier, it looks better. That's not necessarily the case. You still got to be as light as you can. Get the best quality images as you can, but make sure that you're not doing it just for the looks, okay? Make sure that you stay light. It's for your own health, okay? It's not good for your back to be stressing it that much. All right, so keep that in mind. Best lav mic 2018 in your opinion? I really love the Sennheiser G3, but not for its $600 price point. So I'm gonna have to go with the Rode Filmmaker kit, lavalier kit. I think that's the best bang for your buck, and it gets pretty clean audio. Again, not as clean as the Sennheiser. I haven't seen a better mic than Sennheiser yet. My Sennheiser G3, the mic's stripped, so I need a new microphone for my Sennheiser G3. But when it worked, man, it worked so well. I didn't need my Zoom H6 to help clean up the audio. With the Rode, it's still good audio, but at times it can seem very muddled and muffled, and it's just not as clean as the Sennheiser. So the Sennheisers are on 600. The Rode Filmmaker kit is around 400. That's a significant price drop there. Below that, I would say Audio Technica. I don't remember which model, but Audio Technica definitely makes some great lavalier mics. I think I got a pair for like $100. The transmitters were kind of garbage because the range was awful, but the actual lavalier mics sounded almost as good as the Sennheisers. It actually sounded better than the Rode at times. So Audio Technica definitely knows how to make great lavalier mics. Maddie says, or Matthew, I'm sorry, I have a Juin Crane Plus. I have so much difficulty in balancing my Sony a6500 with the kit lens. Also, I have a quick release plate on the gimbal. So what is your problem with, what is your balancing issue? Can you be more specific? PK just joined. What's up, PK? Soldier Edits opinions on film school. You don't need it. You don't need it. You have so much information on the web. You have so many opportunities to go to free workshops, free workshops where professional cinematographers teach. This is free. I don't know how, for example, Aperture, the lighting company Aperture, they host workshops constantly, and they bring down cinematographers who film people like Drake and all these other rappers. Like, it's insane. I don't know how they have those types of connections, but they do. So if I were you, I would follow companies like Aperture who host these types of workshops, because not only you're getting a learning experience, but they actually invite other companies to these workshops. So people like Rode, DJI, uh, Quasar, the lighting company, they were at the latest workshop that I went to. So it's a big deal. I mean, there's just so much data, there's so much info already available to you for free online. You don't necessarily have to be paying for it. However, if you want to get down to like the dirty stuff, and by that I mean like the business and financial side and like really like one-on-one consulting, yes, you will have to pay a little bit, like to hire, for example, if you wanted to hire me for an hour to help you and consult with you a little bit, that's definitely possible. But to get a general education of film and filmmaking, you don't need film school. You don't. The biggest benefit out of film school, is, as far in my opinion, is you learn how to work in a team. That is a very big deal as well. Film school, I don't even think film school is necessary, but film courses, like at any university or any city college, take a film course or two, because they're going to force you to work in a team. And teamwork is so crucial, because if you have an ego that you haven't even discovered that you have, like that you didn't even know, film school is going to kick your ass, or that film course is going to kick your ass, and it's going to put your ego in its place. And that's what happened to me. And I was very glad that happened, because I didn't want to end up getting a job in the industry where I was an ass to everybody. I just don't want that type of reputation. So take film courses, maybe one or two, just to get a feel of how it's like working in a team, because down the road you will end up working in a team and you'll be prepared for it. But besides learning how to work in a team, I don't think film school is necessary. Film theory, you can easily learn online, like composition, film history, all that is available to you online. Camera motion, available to you online. Lighting, available to you online. So everything's available to you online except that teamwork. So you have to experience that teamwork, and that's why I think film courses, to that extent, are very important. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Soldier Edits. Odama Visuals. I have the Jew and Crane 2 in a mount, 7D Mark 1. I just can't seem to balance it the right way. What tips can you give? So what is the exact issue with your balance? Like roll, pitch, pan, like what is the exact issue you're having with your balance? Chris, what up, brother? You've been a big help to my overall video production technique. I can't seem to get my Crane 2 to communicate with my A7S. Any suggestions? Now, are you talking about that little hack I made a video on where you connect your USB cable into the Sony A7S? Let me know if that's what you're mentioning or talking about. David says, "G'day from Australia." G'day, mate. Australia, love my Crane 2. Have you tried the Juin monitor? I'm about to buy my first one and just looking at the options out there. Best bang for the buck, etc. Yes, I have the Juin Tech monitor. Go on my channel. I did review it. It's a good monitor for its price and for the simple fact that it can hook up directly to the Crane 2 gimbal. It's good for framing. It has a big weakness in color and brightness. I don't think the colors are too accurate on that monitor. But again, this is a $250 monitor. It's a budget monitor. It's extremely light. It's thin. It's low profile. And but if you're looking for something that's extremely accurate with color and gets you a bright picture, it may not be the monitor for you. But if you want something that's light, easy to use, easy to check framing, and works very well with the Crane 2, yes, it's a great monitor. It has minimal. It doesn't have too many issues with lag. I mean, there is a little bit of lag to it, but nothing that will bother you too much, in my opinion. But yeah, I would just say those two big downfalls are um, the um, the picture quality, picture accuracy. That's a better word, and the brightness. It's 330 nits, and that's just not the brightest. So you will have to end up using a lens, a hood, a screen hood while you're outside, definitely. Otherwise, you're not going to see anything. All right, next one. Soldier Edits, did you participate in the film program? Yes, I did in Santa Monica College. I took 3 film courses, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Did I learn any film theory? No. Did I learn any lighting? No, but I did learn how to work in a team. And that's the biggest thing. I don't know what the agenda is for film courses. I don't know if I mean, they tried to shove film theory down your throat, but I can't be shoved like information in my face. I have to want it. And what I wanted the most was to pick up a camera and start shooting immediately. So the way they were teaching film theory, they would give me a book that's like 1,200 pages, and I would not read it. I would guess on the quizzes, and somehow, some way, I did very well on the quizzes, but I just did not want to read 1,200 pages to learn film theory. I don't like the way teachers are teaching now. They just shove books in your face and say, go home and read it. That's not how you learn. The way you learn is that you put people in a real world environment, and you test their skills, like how would they react in this situation. And that's where you learn from your mistakes, and that's how you build upon yourself. So film theory should not be taught with books being shoved in your face. Books should be used as a reference, but and kind of as a guide and an overall outlook on theory, but it should not be the backbone of your learning process. No way. That's just not possible, especially for millennials. You know, unfortunately, our attention spans are very low. So when a teacher shoves a book in your face, you're going to look at it for 5 seconds and be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And you're going to put the book down. It's better to just put students in an environment and see how they work together. Are they cohesive? And the teacher should guide them in the right direction, not using text, but using actual verbal commands and verbal guides. So that's what I think is missing in today's education. I think that film theory is just being shoved through books, and that's just not the right way to learn. Alex Duong, what are your go-to lenses, both stills and video? So I don't really take a lot of stills. I need to start doing photography. I'm not the best photographer. I'm not going to lie. I'm not that good. But the lenses that I rely on for video, some are actually portrait lenses, like the 85mm 1.8, great portrait lens, Sony. I have the 70-200 G Master. I have my 16-35 Zeiss f4, and I have my 24-70 f4 Zeiss as well. So those are the main 4 lenses that I'm focusing on using. Those are the ones I'm depending on to get me my footage. Mario's asking, should I drop money for the Panasonic 12-35 f2 lens? Is the $897 worth it? What camera are we talking about here? I'm assuming you're using a GH4 or GH5, correct? Brian says, hey Josh, how you doing? I just wanted to say thank you for all the advice. And ever since I got my camera, I've been producing a lot of videos, and I've been assigned to handle videos of our school. Yes. Congrats, Brian. I'm proud of you, buddy. Bruddy. I called you Bruddy. It's a mix of brother and buddy. That just came out. That's what happens when my mind thinks faster than my mouth. Okay. I love the Crane version 2. What do you think of it? I love it. I sold it, but I love it. I had too many gimbals, so I had to let a few go. But yeah, I love my Crane V2. Odama Visual says, I've watched other YouTube tutorials and I've seen that they can pan the gimbal down and sideways and it tends to jerk, struggle, and scares the heck out of me. There is one extreme position for the Crane 2 and the Crane Plus where the jerking does happen. But Juentech knows about this and they're working. I actually didn't upgrade my Crane 2 to the latest firmware, so maybe that will fix it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. D says, agreed, learn the most from being hands-on and learning where you messed up. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that's where you're going to learn the most in film school. You're going to learn how to work in a team. Film theory, film theory. And what I mean by film theory, that's like the 180-degree rule over the shoulder shots, medium close-ups, extreme close-ups, like the terminology of film. That's film theory. Composition, that plays a really big part in film theory. When I took my film courses, none of them mentioned lighting. I mean, they gave us KinoFlows, which are very expensive and one of the best lights on the market right now. KinoFlows, airy lights, but they didn't teach us how to use them. They just said, here, light the scene. So we had to guess. We had to constantly look at the monitor, a broadcast monitor, and we just had to decide for ourselves if the lighting looked good. So we didn't really learn too much about lighting. We didn't learn about three-point lighting. We didn't learn about backlight, key light, fill light. Maybe here and there we learned a little bit, but it was just not a main concept in film, which is sad because lighting is practically everything. Lighting and sound, I would say, is just basically everything. Lighting and sound, man. If you have good lighting, if you have good sound, it's up to your camera operator to screw it up. But lighting and sound, I mean, if you have that nailed, it's going to be pretty difficult to screw up the shot. Yeah. Can you recommend some good budget steady cams? Glide cams and fly cams are pretty rare here in the Philippines. So yeah, glide cams seem to be more of that premium product. If you want to learn just like the basics of gimbals, like manual gimbals, I would stick to a company called Lang, L-A-I-N-G. Once you get the manual stuff down, make the switch to electronic because that's where the future is going. Manual will soon be out of the picture. Even GlideCam started doing electronic stabilizers, so they know that's what people are wanting. So I just want to make sure that you know that the evolution of filmmaking definitely includes steady cams. Very rarely are we going to see glide cams in the near future. Unfortunately, it's just dying out. And the cameras are going to start getting heavier again. And with the glide cam, it's just going to be very difficult to manage. Soldier Edits says, the reason I ask about film school is that I'm interested in becoming a freelance filmmaker, but my parents insist I go to college. What should I do? Go for a different degree? Yes, go for a different degree. Do not waste your money on film school in a university. There's no way, no how, no reason why you should be getting a degree in film. You know how people get jobs in the industry? They know people, they connect. It has nothing to do with your degrees or education. No, that's all BS. If somebody tells you that, that's wrong. Everybody who I know who makes movies, filmmakers, none of them rely on their degrees, their filmmaking degrees, to get into the industry. The only time where a company is going to ask for your degree in filmmaking is most likely if you're applying for an internship. That's about it. But if you're applying for a full-time job, like as a gaffer, for example, they're not going to ask you about your education. They're going to ask you about your experience. That's the number one thing they're going to ask you for. How many years of experience do you have as a gaffer? And the question is, that's going to be popping up after this is, how do you get experience as a gaffer? Well, you have to work for free. You have to foreshadow a few people that are experienced gaffers. Ask them if you can come along on a few shoots and if you can help gaff things for them. You know, tape things down, help light stuff, wrap up cables. I mean, you got to learn how to do all that stuff, and that's how you build experience, and then that's how you can put stuff on your resume. Same thing for director of photography, director, producer, whatever. You need to foreshadow a few people. You need to, you know, go on these shoots for free. The best way to do some of these things is to be a personal assistant. Yeah, it's gonna suck. You're gonna have to bring people coffee. You might even have to do like dry cleaning for some people, but that's how you start. And it's only a few months. You're gonna realize how quickly your job is gonna start going up and up and up and up and up. You start off with a crappy job, like a PA. I'm not gonna lie, it's not fun. I PA'd, one of my first jobs was a PA for a dating media company, and it was bad. I had to get coffee, I had to get newspapers. It was not fun. But 3 months after I was a PA for that company, my pay started going up and I started doing more digital content. And that's what I enjoy doing. So you start off as a PA, you know, and then you work your way up. And same thing, if you want to be a professional gaffer, DP, director, whatever, you start off doing free gigs, helping people out, being their assistant, getting as much free knowledge and experience as possible, then slapping that onto your resume, and then going after the big dogs, the big production companies with that experience on your resume. So that's how you build yourself. That's how you build your reputation. And that's how you just build your own character too. So all of those things are just very important. You don't need a degree in film to go into film. That's such BS. And film is a very expensive degree. Film and photography, those are two very expensive degrees. It's not worth it. It's not, especially with all the information that we have available to us for free, online, free workshops. If you look around, you cannot miss it. There's free everywhere, everywhere. That's my little rant on film school. So, but yeah, if you want to learn how to work in a team, don't sign up for a film degree. Sign up for film courses, maybe 1 or 2 semesters, and learn what it feels like, experience what it feels like to work in a team. Whew. All right. Timothy says, your videos are super helpful. Thank you so much, Timothy. I appreciate that, brother. Eric Paulus, best gimbal to invest for a beginner with gimbals. What's your budget like? D says, study business. That will cover you for everything. Yes. Business, definitely. If not business, communication. All right. You need to learn at least one of those things, business or communication. If you're good at communication, you know how many jobs, all these jobs that we have in the corporate world today, a lot of them, I would say 85% of them are missing communication. So if you study communication, man, you will get a job almost immediately. Business as well, business management, business marketing. If you learn those topics, if you get a degree in those topics, you will be hired. And the beautiful part is that that degree will get you a job that you've always been wanting. So if you wanted to be a director and you get a business degree, guess what? You will probably end up being a director. And if that doesn't work out and you have a second favorite thing, like managing another person's business, you can easily get that job as well. But it's going to be a lot tougher for you to get that job if you have a degree in film. You see what I'm saying? So yes, follow D's advice, study business, anything business related, communication related, even psychology related. Psychology is another great useful degree because marketing is psychology, believe it or not. Marketing is all psychology. So if you know how to get into somebody's head and you learn how to make somebody buy something, you're a brilliant marketer, okay? So psychology, oh, very important as well. I kind of wish I majored in psychology, I'm not gonna lie. I did communication instead, which has a little bit of psychology, actually a lot of it's psychology as well. So I hope that makes sense. That's just my take on the whole education system. Teachers nowadays just shove books in your face and be like, okay, go read this. Film courses are, you know, one of the few classes that make you work in a team. So that's why I do suggest taking film courses. Just don't enroll into a filmmaking program that will get you a degree. It's just a waste of time. Okay. Shot by AG Media using the A7 III with the APS-C lens, like a Sigma 30 and 16 mil. Still better than using the A6500 body. You know, man, I don't have the A6500 body. I don't know, man. And I don't use Sigma lenses. I don't know. My hair's messy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't use Sigma. I tested out Sigma at NAB, their newest autofocus lenses for Sony E-mounts, and they were slow. I wasn't too happy with them. But picture looked good. Oh man, not the autofocus. Eric says budget for a gimbal is around 900 bucks. That's easy. Crane 2 from Tech. Done. And you're gonna have money left over, 150 bucks. Spend it on something else. Spend it on a light. Marco says, I'm using the Pixel 2 XL and starting to vlog. Very new at this. Any tips for vlogging in public? I feel weird when people look at me and I'm talking to my phone. Feel like people think I'm crazy. Well, guess what? I just got a unicycle and I ride to Santa Monica all the time, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and they expect me to juggle, juggle stuff for them because it looks ridiculous. You know, grown man on a unicycle. You just gotta say screw it, man. Just take out the phone. Picture everyone out, just zone everybody out and just vlog, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit self-conscious whenever I pick out a camera and just take out a camera and just talk to it. I feel weird. But after getting this unicycle that I have right now and going into public and people thinking I'm ridiculous and cool, I'm getting used to the attention. It's Los Angeles, so eventually everyone's going to end up pulling out the cameras and recording everything. So people here are getting more and more used to it every day. But yeah, just do it, man. Just do it in a small populated area first, and then slowly get more into it with a lot more of an audience, and you'll get used to it. Just baby steps, baby step it. By the way, the unicycle, I kind of lied. More people thought it was cool than geeky. More people thought it was cool than geeky. I probably would have gotten a lot more negative attention with the, vlogging rather than just riding the unicycle, because it's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie, the unicycle. But yeah, vlogging is it's gonna probably attract more of that slightly negative attention. Be like, oh wow, what an egotistical guy, but. Just gotta zone them out, man. Baby steps. I'm gonna start vlogging soon. When my channel gets bigger, I'm gonna start vlogging again. I put out a few vlogs that didn't do too well, but once my channel gets more subs, definitely gonna start vlogging. Halvin Wolf, what up, big dog? Just popped into an excellent advice about being a PA. Awesome, man. One Cup says, Aguilar says, thank you for all the valuable content you post on your channel. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I hope you guys are learning from this live stream as well, because I feel like since we're one-on-one here, and this is all live, and it's an hour long, I feel like a lot of people are going to get more detailed information. Calvin Wolf says, dropping gems today, Josh. Thank you, brother. It's because of you guys. You guys are triggering me to drop gems. D says, get the handlebars with the gimbal. Yes, completely agree with D. Marco says, thanks, dude. I'll try zoning people out. Going to give it a shot. Yes, definitely. And eventually start adding more ridiculous setups, like then add a selfie stick to the mix, then hop on a unicycle and start vlogging on a unicycle. You never know, man. People are starting to evolve. We're getting a lot more used to people vlogging. So, yeah, it's not going to be weird in about 2 or 3 years. People are just going to get used to it. Brian says, as for vlogging in public, wear shades and neglect everything and assert dominance. Yes, Brian said it right. Marco says, looking forward to seeing some of your vlogs. Thanks. Thank you, Marco. Brian says, people may say you're copying Casey Neistat, but hey, people have to start at somewhere. No, guys, you're not going to be Casey unless you copy his exact angles and his and his edits, you're not going to be copying Casey Neistat. You know how I know that? Because you are not Casey Neistat. You are not him. You're a completely different persona. You're a different body. All right? So you cannot copy Casey Neistat. He is him. He is himself. He cannot be replicated. Maybe the style of the edits, but that's at most what can be replicated. But you are you. All right? Even if you start off being a fake personality, eventually what's going to happen is that your real side's going to start popping into the picture. That's what happened with me when I started my educational content on YouTube, and I still struggle with it now, is that it's very difficult for me to be authentic on camera. But once I get more comfortable over the course of the video, I start showing more of myself during the shoot. So there are times, and I've gotten comments on my videos where it's like, Josh, why are you so fake in this video? And it's like, damn, you're right, I am. And sometimes at times I do have that. I have that issue. Jason Vong even told me, he's like, Josh, why are you so fake, man? He didn't say it like that, but yeah, Jason picked up on it pretty quickly. Kitty from Atoll Visuals knows about this. So it's actually easier for me to go out of my box. That was a voice crack. Thank you. Go out of my box when I'm with other vloggers, with other YouTubers. It's just easier that way. When I'm by myself, I don't notice me being fake to the camera, but it does happen at times. But if the camera is rolling for a while, I do let out my natural side. But it's something I am still working on, guys, so cope with me, please. As long as you are taking something away from these videos, that's all that really matters to me. I'm not here to be a personality yet. Eventually down the road, when my channel grows, I will incorporate a different personality. So stay tuned for that. Man, that voice crack had me a little embarrassed, man. Jabaro Tech says, hey Josh, I just got this Sony a7 III with the kit lens. What first lens do you recommend next? I do events and tech reviews. Man, Zeiss 24-70 f4. Great affordable lens. It's sharp, light, compact, and the picture quality is mwah. All right, so 24-70 f4, done. One Cup says, I'm about to film my first music video. Thing is that I have a 1DX Mark II from Canon and a 50mm 1.8. I know, laughing my ass off. I like challenges, and this is a whole career. It's just that a fun challenge. Anyway, I also have, and then his message cut off. One Cup, I think I'm misunderstanding you. Are you saying that because you're using such an expensive camera and a cheap lens, and you're trying to come up with something cool with your footage with that setup, or I don't know? Yeah, let me know if you can elaborate on that. Soldier Edit says, I'm taking a trip out to the USC, Chapman, LMU, and now feel like it's useless. I'm from the Midwest. No, it's not useless, man. Come out. Come out and say hi. Alvin Wolf says, affordable slider. What's your budget? I need to know budget. I need to know numbers. What is affordable to you? Timothy, I use my V2 for my art tutorials. It's a game changer. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. One Cap says, I have a Crane 2. A little worried about having just one lens. Is that what you're saying? One lens? Let me know. One lens, yeah. Yeah, a 50mm lens, that shouldn't be your main lens. You're gonna want a wider lens, like a 24 or 28 at max. Yeah, you need a wide, you need a mid-range, which you already have, which is the 50. You need a wide, mid-range, and telephoto. Telephoto around 200mm. I mean, these are standard lenses: a 24 or 28 and a 50 and the 200. Those are like really standard focal lengths. So yeah, try and see if you can get something like that. D says, 1 cup. Yeah, shoot wide and crop in on the edits. Give you some options in post. Yes, it's a good idea from D. Calvin Wolf says $150 for the slider. Yeah, look up a company called Lang, Laing, the S3 slider. I think that's around $120. That's the slider I used. I use Cinetics now. I'm all about Cinetics, the motorized slider and all that good stuff. So obviously it's a lot more expensive, but for $150 or less, Lang makes a very good slider. D says, Timothy, I sent to the wrong person, but it might work for you also. Yes. The great thing about a mechanical glide cam or steady cam for that matter is that no matter on the operator, each operator has a different feel and look. And it's a lot easier to translate your body's motions into a manual gimbal. You can really translate your own personality. And I sound a little crazy saying this, but it's true. Your personality does go through your body and into the equipment you're using, especially if it's something like a glide cam that depends a lot on your technique and a lot on your vision. A gimbal is there more for precision. So all you need to do is direct the gimbal and it will do exactly what you want it to. With the glide cam, it's more swayy and it's a little bit more abstract. But now gimbals are getting that way as well, especially with the roll follow features now that Geointech released on the cranes. You can now do roll. So it's like electronic gimbals are becoming more and more like manual gimbals now. So yeah, it's becoming impressive. Sam says, sir, what lenses do you recommend for shooting with the glide cam wide? Which millimeter? One of my favorite lenses I've ever used with the glide cam is a Rokinon 14 mil, 2.8. Love that lens. I used it all the time for my manual city cam stuff. I'll do mine at TV, Phaetech A2000 or Ronin S. You gotta watch my comparison videos on those. I have a comparison video on the Phaetech A2000. You gotta check it out. Gibraltar says, damn it, got kicked out and didn't hear the answer. DCD. I don't know what that means. Maybe you just lost connection or something. But answer to what? Remind me, please. Timothy's asking, what do you think about the phone gimbals? I don't like shooting on my iPhone. I just don't like shooting on my phone in general. I just like pro cameras more, man. I really do. The picture quality and the ergonomics of a real camera it makes my experience a lot better. But if I have to shoot on my phone, I pull out the Smooth 4 and I shoot with the Smooth 4. I do like the fact that you can control follow focus. I didn't realize that focus is such a big deal on a camera until I used the Smooth 4 because it has such a small sensor. iPhone has such a small image sensor, so I didn't think focus was going to be that big of a deal, but it is. Surprisingly, it is. So I do like the Smooth 4 and iPhone combo. I think that's a great way to get some smooth footage. But again, if I have the option between a Sony A9 or A7 III and an iPhone, I would definitely choose the A7 III and the A9. Jabaro Tech says, to the lens after the kit lens, I'm between 85mm 1.8 and the 24 to 70 you said. I would go for the 24 to 70 first and then the 85 1.8. Just because you get more versatility out of the 24 to 70. The 85 1.8 is more of a portrait lens, in my opinion, because the focusing distance is pretty far. The 24 to 70 is a great lens for that distance, and it has a pretty small focal distance for focus. So my 24-70, I'm in love with that lens. It was my first Zeiss/Sony lens, and man, I love it. Timothy says, very good points. Gibraltar Tech says, even for low light? Well, it depends on the camera you're using. It depends on the camera you're using. If you're using any Sony Alpha cameras, then yes, low light, it works beautifully. Yeah. Sam, Visual Effects says, or Visual X says, Samyang 35mm cine lens for bokeh with my Sony a7 II. Is the lens good on a budget? Yes. Samyang and Rokinon are the same company, by the way. Yeah, they make very good budget lenses. Gibraltar Tech says A7 III. Yeah, even for low light, dude. A7 III does such a great job in low light, it's ridiculous. Yeah. F4, unless you want that extreme shallow depth of field, then I would go for the f2.8. But if depth of field is not that massive of a deal, then f4 will still get you a nice shallow depth of field when you zoom in. But with low light, yeah, with the A7 III, you're going to get great results. Yeah, D says, I never knew that they are the same company. Yeah, Samyang and Rokinon are the same. They're the same company. I forgot which one they rebranded as. I think Rokinon is now Samyang, and all the Rokinon lenses that you see now are being sold out, as in they're selling out their stock. And once they're completely done with the Rokinon set of lenses, it's all just going to be Samyang. Or it could be Samyang is international and Rokinon is specifically for the United States. I don't know how their marketing strategy is, but I know for a fact that Samyang and Rokinon are the same company. How Ha says, hi, been a long time. Can you please make a video about gimbal techniques with the Feiyutech A2000? I have a problem shooting with the follow mode. It doesn't follow my moves, so hard to control. I'll think about it, man. I'm focusing more on Geontech gimbals simply because a lot more people are using them. But if you watch those videos, it will definitely help you out with your A2000. I promise you. Soldier Edit says, which has better low light, A7 III or A7R III? Well, from the reports, it looked like the A7 III had better low light. That's a Jason Vong question because he has both cameras. But I think the A7 III has, from what I've seen the test footage, it looked like the A7 III had better low light than the A7R III. Tyrone asking another question that's constantly going to be asked, and that is Crane 2 versus Ronin S. Patience, my friend, patience. I think that comparison will come. I think. I'm not sure yet. Aldomania TV says, what about the 28-75 Tamron or Sony 85mm 1.8 and 50mm 1.8? So I actually had a chance to take a look at the Tamron 28-75. I was shooting a video with Jason Vong. Of course, we have to bring up Jason Vong again. He loves lenses a lot more than I do, and I need to start collecting more lenses. But the 28-75, I don't like. I think 28mm being the widest focal length for a lens is just too narrow. And I know that because I used to have a Canon 28-135, and I remember using that on gimbals, and it was just way too narrow. The sweet spot for having a zoom to start at is 24mm. 24-70, that is like the ultimate perfect zoom lens. I think Sony has the 24-105 now. That's even a better range. But 24 is like the perfect sweet spot. It's right between the cusp of being distorted and natural looking, and it's just that perfect amount of width. 28, you're going to definitely notice a difference in that 4 millimeters of focal length between a 28 and a 24, and man, 24 is just, I think that's the way to go. Jabaro text, so the 24 to 70 f4, there's only one version, or there's an APS-C version? I'm kind of confused with the full frame and APS-C in the Sony. So you can, the 24 to 70 f4, the one that I'm referring to, is full frame. I think they also have a crop sensor version as well, I think. I don't follow crop sensor stuff because I don't have a crop sensor camera. I only Alistair says A7 III or GH5, your personal preference. I actually had the GH4, but I sold it. But my personal preference, man. Oh, that is such a hard question. I would go with the A7 III because of the better low light and better autofocus. The GH5 has a massive bit rate, and I think you're gonna get sharper images on a crop than you will on the A7 III because of that bit rate, that data, and you get that 4K 60. But because the A7 III has that autofocus capability almost as good as the A9 and the low light capability, I think that the A7 III is an overall better camera because of those two big things. Because with the GH5, you don't have that low light capability, you don't have those autofocus capabilities. And that on its own is a massive deal breaker for me because I like to go to different areas around the city and not having to take lights with me and just having to pull out my camera and just start shooting. I don't want my camera to suffer in low light, and the GH5 suffers in low light. And when it's low light, that means autofocus is not going to be working. And because GH5 already has kind of an issue with autofocus, taking away a lot of light is going to make autofocusing a lot more difficult. So you see how those problems just start piling on. With the A7 III, because it has a full frame sensor, it has the focusing system, same autofocus points as the A9. You're going to get a much better overall experience using the A7 III than you are the GH5. But if you are in a controlled environment where you have lights and you're in a studio and you have a great lens with your GH5, you are going to get sharper and possibly even cleaner picture internally with the GH5 than you are with the A7 III. So it depends on your style of filmmaking. I remember when I had my GH4, and damn, that I used a really crappy kit lens with it, and the picture was still out of this world. It was just so good. I shot at 4K, 200 megabits bit rate. Oh, damn, the footage looked good when it was in focus. I would say 20% of the time it was in focus, 80% of the time it was out of focus. That's why I had to sell the camera, and because of its very bad low light. I mean, that's just, I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of picture quality for low light performance and autofocus performance. But after owning my A9, which downres is 6K to 4K, and knowing that the A7 III also does that, I love the picture quality. I have nothing bad to say about the picture quality coming from the A9 and the A7 III, their A7R3. They have phenomenal picture quality. But the GH5 does have, I think it has slightly better image quality than the Alpha series cameras because of that higher bit rate. It's getting a lot more data than the Sony cameras are. It's actually getting more than double the data. So you're able to do a lot more with green screen chroma key work, and you're going to probably even be able to get a sharper zoom in. When you crop a frame, you're probably going to get a sharper crop than you would with a Sony Alpha camera. Haven Wolf, thank you for your super chat, brother. Do you ever get creative with shutter speed that is outside the 2x frames per second formula? I do sometimes. When I shoot at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, California, when I shoot in the outside portion, I do increase the hell out of my shutter speed. I've shot at 1/600th shutter speed at 60 frames per second. And I'll tell you why I broke this rule. Not only does it cut down the light, but that's not the reason why I did it. But not only does it cut down the light, but when you slow down the footage, you get I didn't see any motion blur at all. So when I slowed down the footage, I saw literally every step was in focus. There was no motion blur. So when you increase that shutter speed, everything is a lot sharper. Everything is a lot sharper when I'm talking about motion. There was no motion blur. Usually why we use the 180 rule, you know, double the frame rate of the shutter speed, or I'm sorry, double the shutter speed of the frame rate, is because we want that proper motion blur. That's the rule we use because it's very close to what the human eye sees. And with that shutter speed that I used, the 1/800th shutter speed, it looked a little bit more surreal, something that our own eyes can't really pick up. But I wanted that look for the workout because I wanted that super clean slow motion, which is why I shot at a ridiculous high shutter speed. You can definitely play around with that. I would not use it a lot. I only use it for a specific type of shot that I want to get. But most of the time, guys, I will follow the 180 rule. Okay, double the shutter speed. When it comes down to double the shutter speed according to the frame rate. So if you're shooting at 30, shoot at 1/60th shutter speed. 60 frames per second, 1/120th, and so on and so forth. And you will get really nice motion blur. You'll get everything done right. Okay. But if you want those niche, like very specific creative shots that require no motion blur, bump up that shutter speed, man, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I had one of my clients, Rob, jump on a tire, and I slowed down the footage from 60 to 30, and I saw literally no motion blur. I could take every single frame and use that as a serious picture, as a thumbnail if I wanted to, because there was just no motion blur. So it looked great. I really liked the look of that. And now the problem is not using a high enough shutter speed. That's when you're in trouble. I ran into that issue. I was shooting with a 1/50th shutter speed at 60 frames per second. That's a no-no. You never want to shoot at a lower shutter speed. Never, 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 never. You know why? Because when you slow down the footage, then the motion blur increases. And when the motion blur increases, it just looks like crap. It looks like garbage. Never shoot at a lower shutter speed. When in doubt, shoot at a higher shutter speed. You are going to get better results shooting at a higher shutter speed than at a very low shutter speed. Because, I mean, I learned from my mistake, guys, and this was from a recent shoot. I forgot to go to 1/120th shutter speed. So when I slowed down the footage, it just looked so choppy. It looked so motion blurry, and it just looked like crap, man. It looked like crap. So I would rather shoot at a higher shutter speed than a slower shutter speed, according to your frame rate. Juan Cap Aguilar, thank you so much for your super chat, brother. Much love, much love. Thank you guys so much. I really love the support today. Thank you. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's see what other questions we have here. 180-degree rule, 24 frames per second, 148. If overexposed, start adding darker ND filters. Yes. Yes. If you want to be consistent with motion blur, definitely, instead of increasing that shutter speed, add those ND filters. As I said earlier, I was looking for a specific type of shot that didn't need any motion blur. That's why I increased that shutter speed. So if you want to keep that realistic motion blur in your shots, don't touch that shutter speed. Keep it the same. Keep it at 1/48th if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, and just smack on those ND filters or use an ND fader. yeah, and darken the footage that way, or darken the footage that way. Yeah, Mike, thank you for that clarification. This is such a great opportunity to learn from an experienced filmmaker. Thank you, Timothy. I appreciate it. I still have a long way to go. I still learn new things every day. Don't forget that no matter what you do, you learn every day. So I'm definitely learning new things every day. Jabarotech says, true, but the A7 III is newer and has some improvements, right, Josh? Or is it the same? Probably more megapixels for photos, both do 6K. No, the A7R III does 5K to 4K, not 6K to 4K. The A7R III does have more megapixels, definitely more of a photo camera than the A7 III. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All right, guys, it's been a little bit over an hour. I hope that this live stream has helped you out in any way. Please, 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 please share this channel with your friends. Let's get that subscriber count back up. YouTube is doing that weird thing that it always does every other month with its algorithm, and channels suffer from that. So yeah, please, if you can, share this channel with your friends. If you can throw me a super chat if you learn something. Take this as like a little film course or like a little training consultation type thing. See it in that way, in that light. But if you can't make a donation at this time, that's perfectly fine. I'm not here for donations. I'm here for advice. But if you can, share this channel with your friends. That's great. That would mean the world to me. Let's get our subscriber count back up. Let's make our way to 50,000 subs. We're almost there. We're a little shy of 40,000 now. So let's keep it up. And stay tuned for next Sunday. We're going to have another live stream, so make sure you are subscribed with notifications on, and stay tuned for tomorrow's new video. So subscriptions, subscribers, make sure you have those notifications turned on. I love you all. Have fun filmmaking, and I can't wait to see what you create. Peace.